What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we're going to be taking a trip to the Wild West, the New Mexico territory to be exact, as we discuss Young Guns, starring Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, Charlie Sheen, Dermot Mulroney, Casey Siemaszko, Terrence Stamp, and Jack Palance. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And as I said at the top of the show, today we're taking a trip to the Wild West, the New Mexico territory, and we're going to talk about the legend of Billy the Kid and the movie Young Guns. And as our movie opens, we are introduced to John Tunstall, an educated Englishman and cattle rancher who lives in Lincoln County, New Mexico. Tunstall is in heavy competition with a well-connected Irishman named Lawrence Murphy, who owns a large ranch, and their men clash on a regular basis. So John hires wayward young gunmen to live and work on his ranch. They're called his Regulators. Tunstall ends up recruiting young William H. Bonney, or Billy, and advises him to renounce violence by saying, "He who sows the wind will reap the whirlwind." Tensions begin to escalate between the two camps and results in the murder of John Tunstall. As a result, Billy, Doc Scurlock, Jose Chavez E. Chavez, Dick Brewer, Dirty Steve Stevens, and Charlie Bauder go and consult their lawyer friend, Alexander McSween, who manages to get them deputized and gives them warrants for the arrest of Murphy's murderous henchmen. And Billy begins to quickly challenge Dick's authority as the leader of the Regulators, and he vows revenge against Murphy as well as all the men responsible for killing John Tunstall. The Regulators are able to arrest some of the murderers, but hot-headed Billy is unable to wait for justice. He guns down unarmed men and even goes on to kill one of his fellow Regulators, a man named Jay McCloskey, in the paranoid but correct belief that he was still in league with Murphy and was sent in to spy on the Regulators. The Regulators then learn from a newspaper that they have been stripped of their badges. The same newspaper goes on and confuses Dick for Billy by showing a picture of Dick that is labeled Billy the Kid, a nickname to which Billy takes an immediate liking to. While the local authorities begin their hunt for Billy and the boys, the Regulators argue about either continuing their warrants or going on the run. One of the men on their list of warrants, a man named Buckshot Roberts, tracks them down and barricades himself in an outhouse, and an intense shootout occurs, resulting in the death of Dick. Billy then appoints himself as the new leader of the Regulators, and the gang goes on to become famous, and the U.S. Army is even charged with bringing the Regulators to justice under Murphy's corrupt political influence. The gang is able to elude attention for some time, allowing Charlie to get married in Mexico. While attending the wedding, Billy bumps into Pat Garrett, who is not yet a sheriff. We all know the legend of Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. But Garrett warns Billy of an attempt on Alex's life by Murphy's men that'll happen the next day. Therefore, the Regulators pick up and head off to save Alex. Back in Lincoln, Murphy's men, led by George W. Pepin, surround Alex's house, trapping the Regulators, and a shootout begins. A ceasefire is called for the evening, and in the morning, the army comes in and torches the house, accompanied by Murphy. However, Chavez is able to escape out the back of the house. While the house is burning, the men come up with an escape plan. They begin throwing Alex's possessions out of the windows of the second story floor, and Billy places himself inside of a large trunk, and when it lands in front of the house, he leaps out and begins to open fire. Meanwhile, Doc bursts out of the side stairway, followed by Charlie and Steve. Everyone makes it to the lawn, but Billy is shot twice in his arms. Charlie ends up challenging the bounty hunter, John Kinney. Kinney shoots Charlie, and Charlie fires back, resulting in both men killing each other. Chavez comes back from behind the army on horseback and jumps the barricade in order to bring extra horses to the Regulators. Billy jumps on one horse, but Doc is shot trying to get onto another. Doc manages to pick up his girlfriend, Yen Soon, who is Murphy's Chinese sex slave, and they ride off. Chavez then tries to get Steve on a horse, but is wounded and falls to the ground. Steve helps Chavez onto the horse, but he is then left alone and unarmed. The army and Murphy's men shoot and kill Steve. Alex cheers the boys on as they ride away, but the army opens fire on him with a Gatling gun, and he is killed. As the remaining Regulators ride away, Murphy hurls threats and curses after them, but is stunned when Billy turns back and shoots Murphy right between the eyes, killing him. As our movie ends, the final scenes feature voiceover from Doc, explaining what happened afterwards. Alex's widow caused a congressional investigation into the Lincoln County Wars. Chavez took work at a farm in California. Doc moved to the East Coast, New York, and married Yen Soon, whom he had saved for Murphy, while Billy continued to ride the territory until he was found and shot dead by Pat Garrett. Doc then tells us that Billy was buried next to Charlie Baudère at Fort Sumner. One night, a stranger went to the grave of Billy the Kid and made a carving in the headstone. The epitaph read only one word: Pals. Young Guns is one of the films that opened up my love and appreciation for the Western genre, the other one being Tombstone, which I covered last year during my birth month. But it's something about the movies of the Old West in particular, the ones that have to do with the outlaws and the historical figures from said time. Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, Billy the Kid, Jesse James, Wild Bill Hickok, etc. Those type of stories from the Old West are the ones that intrigue me the most, because while they may be romanticized and fictionalized, it is still our nation's history. It is still stories about our history. William H. Bonney was a real man. He did live during the late 1800s in the New Mexico Territory. You know, whether all the stories about him are true or romanticized fiction, that's up for debate. But we do know that the man did exist. So, for that and that alone, it's a nice little piece of our history. I will go ahead and say, and I'll get more in depth into this on Monday when I cover Young Guns 2. I do prefer the sequel to the original. I feel like this is the more dramatic, story driven film, while the other film is a little bit more comedic. And again, I'll get into the comparing and contrasting the differences on Monday once I've covered both films. But as such, as the fact that this is a little bit more dramatic, I tend to not enjoy the original as much as I do the sequel. It's one of those situations where I actually enjoy the sequel more. I do enjoy Young Guns. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I'm curious to know what you guys think about Young Guns. Let me know if you're watching the premiere. Leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's engage in that discussion. Let's discuss Young Guns. I'm really curious to know what you guys think about it. Let me know. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here on Renegades Reviews, exclusively here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, when I will be discussing Good Morning, starring Colson Baker, better known as Machine Gun Kelly, Maud Sun, Becky G, Dove Cameron, Jenna Boyd, Amber Rose, Avril Lavigne, Dennis Rodman, Tom Arnold, Whitney Cummings, Megan Fox, Pete Davidson, Danny Trejo, and Snoop Dogg. You're not going to want to miss out on that one tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, right back here on another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. To all my loyal fans and viewers out there, thank you very much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell. Make sure you share this video with your family, your friends, movie lovers, Western lovers, historical fans, people that love their history, love the Wild West, other cinephiles. Let's spread the word of the show, get it out there, help me boost up my visibility in the YouTube algorithms, help me to where I can eventually get monetized and make some money on these videos. We all know that's my goal by the end of the year. Let's try to get on that and make that happen for me. Thank you again for tuning in. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you guys next time.